You ever get that feeling? That little gut instinct that tells you someone isn't being totally straight with you? Yeah, we've all been there. But what if there was a subtle, almost invisible biological signal that most of us miss completely? Well, today, we're diving into the hidden rhythm of deception to find out exactly what that is. We've all heard it a million times, right? If someone is lying, they can't look you in the eye. They'll look away, stare at the floor, anything but make eye contact. It's probably the most famous piece of body language advice there is. But here's the thing, the science says it's basically a myth. The real clue isn't whether they're looking at you. It's about the timing of what their eyes are doing. It's a subconscious tell that is nearly impossible for anyone to control. Honestly, most of us are just looking for the wrong signs.
Okay, so to really understand this, we first have to look at what's going on in the brain while the lie is actually happening. This is the first part of the pattern, a period of intense mental work called the cognitive freeze.
So, what is going on in there? You might think telling a lie is easy, but it turns out it's one of the most mentally demanding things a person can do. It's way, way harder than just telling the truth. Let's break down exactly why. The key idea here is something called cognitive load. The easiest way to think about it is like your brain's processing power, kind of like the CPU in your computer. When you're doing something simple, like tying your shoes, the load is super low. But when you're trying to do something complex, like solve a tough problem, or tell a convincing lie, that load just skyrockets. I mean, just look at a liar's mental checklist. They're not just doing one thing. They have to invent a story that sounds real. They have to actively push down what actually happened. They have to watch you to see if you're buying it. And they have to manage their own anxiety so they don't give themselves away. That is a massive amount of cognitive load.
And when your brain's processor is running at 100%, just trying to juggle all of that, it has to start shutting down non-essential background programs. And one of the first automatic functions to get paused? Blinking. The person's blink rate just plummets while their mind is in this state of super deep focus. But that's only the first half of the pattern.
Because what happens in the moment after the lie is told is just as important. This is the release. This is when the floodgates finally open.
And this is the climax of the whole process. The second that person feels like they've delivered the lie, that they're out of the danger zone, their brain lets out this huge sigh of relief. That immense cognitive load is just dropped, and the body immediately starts to play catch-up.
So let's put it all together here. During the lie, you get this intense focus, a really high cognitive load, and a blink rate that's crazy low. But then, immediately after, you see the sudden mental relief. The cognitive load gets released, and you get this explosive burst of blinking to make up for it. It's a complete flip.
So we've got the two main pieces, the freeze and the flood. Now we just have to put them together to see the whole picture. It's all about learning how to read this rhythm. And here's what that rhythm actually looks like. First, you've got to get a sense of a person's normal baseline blink rate, just during a normal chat. Then, when the lie is being told, you see that huge drop. And finally, right after, comes that massive spike as their brain relaxes and their eyes compensate for the freeze. And this, right here, this is the most important part. You're not looking for just one thing. A lack of blinking by itself means nothing. A burst of blinking by itself also means nothing. The true subconscious tell of deception is the entire sequence. It's that rhythm, from normal down to slow, and then up to fast.
Look, at the end of the day, this isn't about becoming a human lie detector overnight. It's really just about being a more careful observer of the people around you. So now that you know this hidden rhythm exists, the real question is, what are you going to start to notice?